The wigs! Oh my gosh, the wigs. Hey, it's Kristen, and today we are talking about the much anticipated Selena series on Netflix. It follows the story of Selena Quintanilla, the queen of Tejano music and an iconic Mexican pop star. And I gotta say, this has been one of my most anticipated shows of 2020, maybe of the decade. I think Selena may be the first Latina that I saw on screen, especially seeing the biopic with J-Lo back in the 90s. Like, I vividly remember sitting in my parents' room as like a 7-year-old and watching the movie with them. And I think Selena's legacy has continued to grow over the years, and she continues to impact Latino people. I mean, even more recently in some episodes of my video podcast, Pop Culture Planet, I spoke to actors like Stargirl's Yvette Monreal and Julie the Phantom's Madison Reyes, and the first Latino that they could think of that really inspired them was Selena.
The biggest story and the person that kind of is always in the back of my head is just, you know, Selena.
We grew up on Selena.
She's still motivating people to this day.
Selena is such an inspiration to me, has always been an inspiration to me.
She is just such an icon and a legend, and I'm so glad that her family is keeping her legacy alive. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and drop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on this new Selena series. Did you love it? Did you hate it? I cannot wait to hear your thoughts. In this new Netflix series, they're diving a bit deeper into Selena's life on the road, especially when they were growing up, and you get to really see a bit more of their family life. For me, I think a lot of what I do know about Selena kind of comes from that J-Lo movie when it comes to telling her life story. And so what I thought was really interesting here was getting a chance to learn more about her brother AB and her sister Suzette, and kind of, you know, learning about how AB was really the songwriter, and his dad really pushed him to find those hits, and her sister, you know, didn't want to be a drummer at first, and just how impactful it was for other people to see, you know, this female drummer being successful. And also just seeing, you know, I knew Selena was very interested in fashion and was like a businesswoman before her passing, but to see that they really kind of pushed this idea of Selena, one, being super interested in fashion and creating all their costumes and things for their band was really cool. And also, two, seeing how she really from the start had this very strong passion and interest in making an English album and crossing over into the English market. One of the things that really always resonated to me in the stories of Selena is that balance of being Mexican and American. Am I Latino enough? Am I American enough?
We gotta prove to the Mexicans how Mexican we are, and we gotta prove to the Americans how American we are. We gotta be more Mexican than the Mexicans and more American than the Americans, both at the same time. It's exhausting.
And in this show, I feel like we really kind of get to see this idea that Selena was an American girl who happened to sing in Spanish because that was the market that her father thought would, you know, be the most successful for them. But she was really interested in those pop stars, Janet Jackson and Jodie Wadley. That was something that was really difficult for them to kind of cross over into those kinds of English language projects. So one of the things that I really enjoyed that they showed us in the series, but wish they actually gave us more of, was that struggle between her American and Mexican side. What people thought Selena should be, but also what things she enjoyed and what were her interests. I think that there was a big separation there, and I kind of wish that they played that up a little bit more, because I found that very interesting. I also think they did a fairly good job of kind of showing us these different milestones in Selena's career, them doing photo shoots for album covers and different things like that. So some of those more technical things that maybe we don't necessarily know about, like what it was like really, you know, on this set of something, or getting their record deal and things like that. I found that kind of interesting. But I think the biggest issue that I found with this project is that I wish that they did more. It felt very safe. It kind of felt sitcom-y. The production quality was not there. This is Selena. I wanted to see production quality on the level of Stranger Things, you know? I just felt like some of the shots looked really cheap. You know, there's a scene where Selena's in the car with her sister, and it just looks like they're sitting in a car on a green screen. Or the wigs. Oh my gosh, the wigs. I had a feeling the wigs were not going to be the best from the pictures that they had been posting behind the scenes on Instagram, but oh my gosh, the wigs. Ooh, I don't think that they would win any awards for those wigs, no offense. I think that they could have really put more work into that. There was one particular wig in the 8th episode. It looked just like they just plopped a wig on her head. They didn't even try to blend it in or anything. I'm no wig expert, but I was like, no, I don't think this works. There were certain aspects of this project that I think they tried to add more background on certain people and characters, like Los Bad Boys, who end up joining the family band, and I think there was just some kind of like disconnect where it felt like we weren't really getting to know any of these characters really on any meaningful level. Julio Macias from On My Block plays Pete Estudio, and I felt like there was nothing going on there. Like, they kind of introduced him and his other bandmate, and they barely had any storyline, but then they tried to make it that he's going solo, and I'm like, we didn't really learn anything about him. We barely got any screen time with him. And even with the family itself, you know, yeah, AB's writing the music, or, you know, Suzette is learning about the drums, and Selena's singing and loves fashion. But other than that, I felt like it was so surface level. They should have been able to dive so much deeper into this story, especially because we have 9 episodes. Like, I really wanted to see something just more impactful, and so to me that was so disappointing, because I just kept imagining what this could have been like if they just went further, if the script was stronger, if the production was a higher quality. And because of that, even moments with Selena, like, I'm like, where's the magnetism of, like, this is Selena, like, she's an icon, a legend. Like, I wasn't really getting that. I didn't think that anyone really stood out in this production, and the love story between Selena and Chris was so weak. I think that they did so much more in the movie, which is crazy because that's so much less time versus these 9 episodes where they could have really dug so much deeper. The love story, I didn't feel a connection there, even though this is like one of the most, you know, iconic, well-known love stories. Something else that I started thinking about was, you know, there are young people that are going to watch this that don't know Selena, and this is their first introduction to her, and I don't think that they did a good job in introducing who she is and like her legacy. I already have an idea of Selena and her impact, and I just felt like this was not enough. And if I didn't know anything about Selena, I feel like I don't know if this would do anything for me in terms of getting to know her. You know, I think the music, of course, is incredible, and after watching the show, I just, you know, I had Bitty Bitty Bam Bam and Como La Flor stuck in my head, and it made me want to listen to her music, but I just don't think that they did enough in this show to really like show Selena's impact. I guess I was also just hoping to like see something different, like maybe things that we haven't necessarily seen before, like that were not in the movie, and I just didn't feel like I got anything like completely different. It does feel like, you know, the family was really involved in this project. They wanted to make sure to keep the legacy alive, and in doing so really kind of brushed over the story with rose-colored glasses where like nothing could go wrong. You know, the family never fought. You never see them rebelling or even taking time away to do something as a family. You know, it felt like they filmed this in a very safe bubble of like, we want to make sure to tell a story that they feel comfortable with, which I understand completely, but also I think it does a disservice to Selena's story because it is played so safe, and you don't get those deeper moments or get a real depth to her and bring her to life in a really powerful way. It just begins to feel generic, like, where's the magic here? Where's the real person that we are diving into their story? I think playing it too safe really hurt the story here. Just because people know the story of Selena doesn't mean you can't build it up more and, you know, make it believable and you know, give us this incredible production. When you're looking at the movie compared to the show, like, J-Lo had that star quality as Selena, and I don't know if Kristen Serratos really has that. The way the season ends, I guess it's supposed to be a cliffhanger of, you know, like the drama with the family and Chris, but it just seemed obvious to me, you know, it wasn't anything like completely shocking. So I guess they're gonna continue in a part 2 and continue Selena's story until her passing. Will I watch a part 2? Of course. I mean, it's Selena. Yes, I will watch the part 2 and see what they do with it and, you know, share my thoughts. But when it came down to this first part, I was really not impressed. I think the production quality was just not there, and I think that they could have done so much more, especially for an icon like Selena, who has, you know, major fans even now. And I gotta say, like, as a Latina who was so excited to see this story being brought to life, like, this is a show that I have been so excited for. I was so disappointed, and I was like, do I just have too high of expectations? You know, we're getting a story of a Latina icon, and it's like, no, like, we deserve more. Like, this, I think, could have been so much better. Put the money into this. What's going on here? I'm sad to say I didn't think that this was very good. The production quality was not there. The scripts felt really safe. It was really missing, like, the depth and the heart and the, like, star power of what Selena should be about. And in my personal opinion, I feel like Selena fans might be a little bit disappointed because they'll be expecting more. I just don't think that this really hit the mark. I think they could have done so much more, you know, celebrating this Latina icon. If you guys like this one, you can check out more of my Netflix reviews right over here, and I will catch you in my next video. See ya.